All right. Ready to nail that architectural drafter interview?
Yeah.
We're diving deep into RoleCatcher's resources to help you stand out, kind of like a cheat sheet for interview success.
We'll be going through some of those tricky questions from their interview guide, pulling some extra tips from their career guide, and even showing you how their AI can be a secret weapon.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So, let's start with something I think most people are going to get, which is tell me about your experience with drafting software. I think the temptation here is to list off every program under the sun.
That's a trap I see a lot of candidates fall into, and it doesn't help you stand out.
No.
Instead of, rattling off a laundry list, focus on the specific software mentioned in the job description and actually quantify your experience. So, for example, you could say, I've been using AutoCAD for 3 years on residential and commercial projects.
Yeah, that's a great way to show that you've done your homework and your skills are actually relevant to their specific needs. Because, every firm's different. So, they might follow that up with, what are your strengths and weaknesses with specific software? Now, I think this is where a lot of people start to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, it can be tricky, but it's also an opportunity to really shine. So for strengths, try to highlight one that's directly tied to their needs.
Go.
If you see that they use Revit extensively, you could say something like, I excel at creating detailed construction drawings in Revit.
Okay, so you're basically showing them right then and there that you can meet their needs.
Yes.
Perfect.
And for weaknesses, it's important to be honest, but try to frame it as a growth area.
Okay, so not just like, I'm terrible at this.
Right. Like, for example, you could say, I'm still building my 3D modeling skills, but I'm a fast learner and excited to expand my expertise using your company's resources.
Yeah, that's way better. You're, being positive, proactive, and really showing that you're invested in their success, which is what they want to hear.
Yep.
Okay, so another one they might throw at you is, how do you ensure accuracy in your drafting work? Now, it's not enough to just say, oh, I'm super detail-oriented.
Yeah.
You've got to give them something more concrete.
Right. What I recommend is that you give them a specific example of your process. So, for example, you could say, I always double-check dimensions against the architectural plans and use the software's verification tools to catch any discrepancies before finalizing the drawings.
So that really highlights your commitment to quality control.
Yes.
And it shows that you have a really methodical approach.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of catching errors,
Yeah.
what if they ask, tell me about a time you caught an error in someone else's work?
That's a good one. And this question is really about teamwork and communication, not about pointing fingers.
Right.
So using the STAR method, which is situation, task, action, and result, can really help structure your answer concisely and effectively. So you could say something like, during a team project, I noticed a conflict between the elevation drawings and the floor plans. I flagged it to the team lead, we collaborated to pinpoint the cause, and I revised the drawings, preventing costly delays down the line.
Nice. So you're not just showing that you can catch errors, you're also showing that you can solve problems, you can work collaboratively, and you're focused on project success, all things employers love.
Exactly.
Okay, now for a question that lets you show off your design knowledge. What design principles do you follow when creating a new project? So this is where you go beyond just listing off like proportion or balance.
Right. You need to connect those principles to real-world examples from your portfolio.
So instead of saying, I value balance, you could explain how you actually applied that principle in a specific design to create a harmonious composition.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to actually use visuals.
Oh, that's good.
If you have an online portfolio, you can even guide them to a specific project as you're explaining.
Yeah, that makes your answer way more impactful.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about teamwork. I see this one a lot. How do you collaborate with architects and engineers in a project?
So this is really about understanding your role within a larger team and highlighting your communication skills, your ability to really understand different perspectives, and your willingness to adapt.
Right, because it's a team effort at the end of the day. Now, imagine they follow up with, can you give me an example of a time you had to communicate a complex technical issue to someone outside of your field?
Here you could describe a situation where, for example, you had to explain a technical detail to a client in a way that they could easily understand. So really focusing on your ability to bridge that gap between technical jargon and plain language.
And that really ties back to active listening, right?
Absolutely.
Which is a key skill that RoleCatcher highlights in their career guide. Being able to truly listen and understand the needs and perspectives of others is crucial for effective collaboration, not just in architectural drafting, but in any field. Okay, let's tackle a potentially challenging question. Tell me about a time you had to resolve a drafting error in a project. Now, everyone makes mistakes, right?
Of course,
So
yes.
this question is really about how you handle them.
Exactly. And the key here is to be honest, own your actions, and show that you learned from the experience. The STAR method is your friend here as well.
Perfect. So, clearly explain the situation, the task, the action you took,
Hmm.
and the positive result you achieved. And remember, RoleCatcher has that amazing video practice with AI feedback feature.
Oh, yeah. That's a great resource.
So, it's like having a mock interview with a personalized coach. So you can actually practice answering this exact question and get feedback on your delivery, your content, even your body language. I mean, talk about a confidence booster.
It's a game changer. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. How do you stay up to date with the latest drafting technologies and trends? Now, don't just list off software here. You want to show them that you're proactive about continuous learning.
Exactly. So mention industry publications that you read, online forums, webinars, even specific YouTube channels that you follow. And if you've taken any online courses to expand your skill set, definitely mention those.
Yeah. And I think being a member of professional organizations like the American Institute of Architectural Drafters shows commitment, too. It's all about demonstrating that genuine interest in your craft, and that's really important. All right, let's talk about building codes, because I know this is a must-ask in any architectural drafting interview. How do you ensure that your designs meet all applicable building codes and regulations?
Safety and compliance are absolutely non-negotiable. So you need to showcase your familiarity with building codes and how you incorporate them into your actual workflow. You could say something like, I regularly consult online databases and reference materials to stay current on local codes and regulations. I also use checklists and software features that actually flag potential code violations.
So having a system in place shows that you take this seriously.
Absolutely.
Now, what if they ask, can you give me an example of a time you had to advocate for a design change to meet code requirements, even though it wasn't initially popular with the client?
Oh, that's a good one. That's testing your communication skills and your commitment to safety. So, in this case, just briefly describe the situation, how you clearly explain the code requirements and the potential risks to the client, and how you ultimately found a solution that met both their needs and those all-important safety standards.
It's about balance.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to time management, because that's crucial.
Yeah.
How do you manage multiple projects and deadlines? This one comes up a lot.
It does, and it's all about showing your ability to prioritize, stay organized, and deliver on time. So mention any specific tools or techniques that you use.
Like project management software.
Yeah. Exactly. To-do lists, time blocking, anything like that.
Now, if you have an example of a time where you had to juggle multiple projects under pressure and you did it successfully, share it
Absolutely.
because it adds credibility and shows that you can handle the heat. Okay, this one is becoming increasingly important. How do you incorporate sustainability into your designs?
This is your time to shine. Think beyond just using sustainable materials. Think about incorporating passive heating and cooling systems, designing for energy efficiency.
Yeah, and RoleCatcher's Career Guide has a ton of information on sustainable materials, technologies, and design
It's a
strategies.
great resource.
Definitely, and don't be afraid to kind of geek out a little bit, right? If you're passionate about LEED certification or biophilic design, let them know. It shows you're not just following trends, you actually care.
Exactly.
And guess what? RoleCatcher's AI can analyze job descriptions to highlight keywords related to sustainability and then suggest ways to actually tailor your resume and your answers to really emphasize those skills.
It's like having your own personalized career advisor.
It is. So as you're preparing for that interview, remember, it's not just about knowing the software or reciting like textbook answers. It's about showing them that you are passionate, that you're a problem solver, and that you're committed to creating beautiful, functional, and sustainable spaces.
Exactly. And with RoleCatcher by your side, you'll have all the tools and resources you need to actually succeed.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've gone over some of those common architectural drafter interview questions, sprinkled in some career insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide, and even shown you how their AI can help you really tailor your answers.
But there's still so much more to explore.
There is.
So in part 2, we're going to delve a little deeper into career progression. We'll talk about the impact of all this emerging technology and uncover even more insider tips to help you really rock that interview.
Definitely. Stay tuned.
Yeah. So let's say you ace that interview, you land the job, congratulations. Now what? Where can this career as an architectural drafter actually take you?
That's a great question, and that's where RoleCatcher's career stages section comes in. It's almost like a roadmap, kind of outlining that typical progression from entry level to junior to intermediate and eventually senior architectural drafter.
And each stage comes with its own challenges and responsibilities, of course, but it also comes with amazing opportunities for growth. As you gain experience, you'll be tackling those more complex projects. You might even mentor junior drafters, maybe even lead a design team someday.
Yeah. And I love how RoleCatcher actually includes those real-world examples from people who are, living these roles. It's really inspiring to see where this path can lead.
Yeah,
But the learning never stops, right? How can architectural drafters make sure that they're staying ahead of the curve in this field?
Well, continuous learning is key. And the career guide really emphasizes professional development, whether it's through online courses, webinars, or even in pursuing higher education or, some of those advanced certifications. Remember, we were talking about those certifications, like becoming an AutoCAD certified professional.
Yeah. I mean, those can really boost your credibility and your job prospects.
Absolutely.
Speaking of staying ahead, what about all this new technology, things like 3D printing and virtual reality? I mean, it seems like these are total game changers for the field.
Oh, absolutely. 3D printing is already being used to create building components and even entire structures. I mean, imagine printing a house.
Wow.
And then virtual reality allows clients to actually walk through designs before they're even built, so they can experience the space in a whole new way.
That's incredible. So what kind of skills do drafters need to stay relevant with all these, advancements? What should they be focused on?
Well, adaptability is key. You got to embrace that new software, be open to learning new processes, and stay curious about emerging technologies. And RoleCatcher can actually help you stay ahead of the curve there by analyzing job descriptions and identifying those skills that are needed for these, cutting edge roles.
So it's not just about mastering the software of today. It's about being ready for what's next.
Exactly.
Okay, let's jump back to interview prep for a second because I want to touch on those trickier behavioral questions. We've talked a lot about, technical skills, but what about the ones that dig into your personality and your work style?
Oh, yeah, those are important. So, for example, let's say they ask, what is your greatest strength as an architectural drafter?
Okay. Now, I think it's tempting to just say detail-oriented and move on. But how do we make our answer really stand out here?
Well, I think you should choose a strength that's genuinely you and really relevant to the role. And then back it up with a specific example. Instead of just saying, I'm a great communicator, you could say, I'm skilled at explaining technical drawings to clients in a way that's clear and easy to understand.
So basically showing, not telling.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you could even weave in a little story about a successful client interaction.
Yeah.
Because storytelling's powerful, right?
It is. It is. It helps those interviewers connect with you on a more personal level.
Okay. Speaking of connecting, let's tackle another one that I think makes a lot of people nervous. Tell me about a time you faced a challenging situation at work and how you handled it.
Yeah. I don't like that question either.
No.
But it's designed to assess your problem-solving skills and your resilience. So choose a situation where you faced a genuine obstacle, describe the steps you took to address it, and highlight what you learned from that experience.
And it's okay to talk about a time you made a mistake.
Right.
As long as you focus on what you learned from it and how you grew.
Absolutely.
Okay. This next one can be a little bit of a curveball, I think. Why are you interested in working for our company? So this is where you have to do your research.
It is. It is. Go beyond just, browsing their website, look at their recent projects, read articles about their company culture, check out their social media, and ask yourself, what resonates with you?
And RoleCatcher's employer database is like gold for this. They have so much information on companies all over the world, company profiles, recent news, even insights into their hiring practices.
Yeah, it's a great resource. So use that, find something specific that excites you about their work and connect it to your own passions and goals. Maybe they're known for their, sustainable design practices and that aligns with your values.
Right. Speaking of values, what about the what are your salary expectations question? Because that one always feels a little awkward.
Yeah, that's never fun, but it's important to be prepared for it. Do your research. Research the average salary range for architectural drafters in your area. Consider your experience level and have a range in mind. And be confident.
Yeah. You're
You're a skilled professional who brings value to the table, so don't undervalue yourself.
Okay, good advice. Now, let's shift to something a little bit lighter. Tell me about your hobbies or interests outside of work. Why do they even ask this?
Well, it's really a chance for you to showcase your personality and let your passion shine through. So talk about things that you genuinely enjoy. Maybe you're an avid photographer who loves capturing architectural details, or you volunteer with, Habitat for Humanity.
hmm So it helps them see you as a well-rounded person, not just, a resume on paper. And plus, it can spark a conversation, build some rapport with the interviewer.
Exactly. And sometimes those shared interests can lead to really unexpected connections.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's wrap up this section with a question that often comes right at the end, and that's, do you have any questions for me?
Never say no to this one. It shows that you're engaged, that you're curious. So think about what you genuinely want to know about the role, the company, or the team. Ask about their design process, company culture, opportunities for professional development, even their vision for the future.
And I always say, prepare a few questions in advance, based on your research, but also be ready to ask those follow-up questions based on what you learned during the interview,
Absolutely.
because it shows that you're listening, you're engaged in the conversation.
Exactly. So as you can see, preparing for that architectural drafter interview, it goes way beyond just knowing the technical stuff. It's about showcasing your personality, your passion, and your unique strengths.
And remember, RoleCatcher is your secret weapon.
It is.
Those resources can help you analyze job descriptions, practice your answers, and get personalized feedback to help you really shine in that interview.
Now, in our final part, we're going to explore some additional tips and strategies to help you make that lasting impression and land that dream job. So stay tuned.
All right, so we've talked about the technical questions, those tricky behavioral questions, even how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a real edge in your prep. But before you walk into that interview, let's talk about those final tips that can really make a difference.
Because those little things, they really can add up.
Yeah,
It's true.
so first impressions, they matter,
It's
right?
huge.
What should people be thinking about when it comes to, presentation and professionalism?
So first up, dress for success. Think business casual or even a step above that.
Okay,
A blazer, a nice button-down shirt, always make a good impression.
always.
And remember, even if the interview is virtual, your background and your appearance still matter
It does.
a lot.
Yeah.
That clean, uncluttered background shows that you're organized and detail-oriented.
Which, as an architectural drafter, those are pretty key qualities.
It's true. And don't forget about eye contact.
So important, whether you're in person or on video.
It really shows you're engaged and confident.
Exactly. Now, speaking of confidence, what about those pre-interview jitters? I mean, everyone gets nervous, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Any advice for calming those nerves?
Well, the best antidote to anxiety is preparation. The more prepared you feel, the more confident you'll be.
Makes sense.
So review your portfolio, rehearse those answers, even do a mock interview with a friend or family member.
And you know what? Remember RoleCatcher's video practice with AI feedback?
Oh, yeah.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket. You can practice, you can get that AI feedback, work on your delivery, your body language, everything.
It's great. And don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And a healthy breakfast. Taking care of yourself physically and mentally will help you feel your best on the big day.
Okay, now let's talk about something that I think a lot of people overlook, which is enthusiasm.
Because enthusiasm is contagious, it shows you're truly interested in that role and excited about the opportunity.
Right, and even if you are nervous, let that passion shine through. Talk about what excites you about this field. Mention those specific projects that inspired you or share your vision for the future of design.
And remember, an interview is a two-way street. It's a chance for you to learn more about the company, the role, just as much as it is for them to learn about you. So don't be afraid to ask those thoughtful questions.
Exactly. It shows you're engaged and you are genuinely interested.
Yes.
Now, imagine we've reached the end of the interview. What are some of the kind of final things to keep in mind as you're wrapping up?
So always thank the interviewer for their time and express that continued interest in the role. And here's a pro tip. Reiterate a key skill or experience that really aligns with their specific needs.
Okay.
You're reminding them why you're such a great fit.
Like that lasting impression.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And don't forget to follow up with a thank you email within 24 hours.
Yes, always.
It's a small gesture, but it shows professionalism, keeps you top of mind.
Now, this is where I think RoleCatcher's AI can really be helpful. Their thank you note generator can help you craft a personalized, impactful thank you email that highlights those key strengths and reiterates your enthusiasm.
It's like having that secret weapon in your job search arsenal.
Definitely. So, As you're getting ready for your architectural drafter interview, just remember, it's not just about knowing the software, reciting those textbook answers. It's about showcasing your passion, your problem-solving skills, your unique personality. It's about showing them that you're not just qualified, but you're the right candidate for the job.
Exactly. And remember, with RoleCatcher, you've got the tools and the resources to succeed. So go out there, be yourself, let that passion shine through. We're cheering you on.
We are. And that wraps up our deep dive into architectural drafter interview prep. We hope you found it insightful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit fun.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep dreaming big, keep learning, and keep creating those amazing spaces.
That's a wrap.